Everyone has a world, and they don't even know it. Every living thing has the capability to create its own world. With enough training, one can access one's world, and even share it with others. I would like to share with you my first world, and how I discovered it. Ever since my sister and I moved into this house, I have always felt a little off whenever I went out into the front yard. It felt both as if something else was there, and I wasn't there. I felt like things were making both a lot more sense and a lot less sense the longer I stayed. Until it finally dawned on me. It seemed so obvious. I can create worlds, and so can anyone. So, I got to work. I'm about to send a camera into my world for the first time. Since only other living things can bring objects into someone's world, I have attached my camera to this plant in order to bring it into my world. So, yeah. Okay, my world is limited to one small room as of yet, but if I train enough, I should be able to expand it. I also need to work on my stamina because just having this plant in here is exhausting. And if I get too tired when there's someone else in my world, it can be fatal for both of us. So, yeah, let me just retrieve that. I guess I'd say that my first expedition into my world was successful. So over the past week I've been training really hard, and I think I've finally managed to expand my world beyond that one room. So, let's see. Wow, this is expanded quite a bit. Not only is there another room, but there seems to be more doors in that room. I wonder where they lead. So the old plant died because I forgot to water it, but I do have one of my friends here today. Say hi.
Hello.
And he's going to show you around my world for the first time, in person. So, you ready? Okay. I'm getting pretty tired, so I'm going to let you out, okay? Every day, I practiced more and more, and expanded my world greatly. As it currently stands, my world is an entire solar system with 5 planets and 2 stars. The original room resides somewhere on the second planet. And yet, I feel like I'm only scratching the surface of creating worlds. This poses the question, what is the limit of one's world? And what would a world look like if it were created by the wrong hands? Last year, I began to document how I created my first world and how it grew over time. Since then, I have experimented and discovered so much more about the existence of worlds. I have also concluded that all living beings can create and develop worlds of their own, but that pales in comparison to my next big discovery. I believe that one can use their world in order to travel to adjacent universes. Let me explain. First, we must discuss the geography of reality. Nearby universes are naturally more similar to each other, and they become increasingly different the further you go out. When one creates a world, that world becomes anchored to the universe that the person is in. However, if one expands the world far enough, it could eventually anchor to another universe. This could be utilized in order to propel oneself to the other side. Over the past year, I've slowly been creating a chain of worlds from this universe to as far out as I can go. Let me show you.
This is the furthest I can go. I have not been able to create any more worlds to continue the chain. It's like I've hit some sort of barrier that I can't get past. I don't want to stay here for much longer.
What is going on here? My sister's phone is cracked? Why did she just leave it out here? It's obvious she was filming something. Let me see.
So there's something strange happening with this bush in my front yard. I'm not sure if this is a quality of this particular species, but none of the other bushes are behaving like this. I have this plant here, and if it makes contact with the bush, something a bit unusual happens. Look, the plant's gone.
You can also create worlds?
I can't enter.
Here's another plant, and look. I'm not sure why this is happening. The weird thing is that when I do this with other objects, nothing happens. For example, we have this ruler. Nothing happens when it touches the bush. Same with this. Nothing. I would say that it's only plants that disappear when contacting the bush, but that's not entirely true. My cat disappeared last week and he's not a plant. I miss him.
I guess all those missing posters we spent hours putting up were useless.
I think I just accidentally touched the bush. Where am I? It looks like a forest?
She has no idea.
At least my plants are here. I'm not sure where my cat went, though. I'll have to find him. That's not supposed to happen.
I don't think that's a good sign.
Finally! Some civilization. Huh? What language is that? What? Okay, I'll try that. Just this? What am I supposed to do with this? Wait a minute. Something's happening. Wait, what?
Let me in! Let me in. That plant took my sister, and presumably our cat disappeared into it too. I need to get them back, but I have no clue what to make of this. What is this? So when I take a look inside this, the contents are two labeled images. And now the first one at the top here, there is a language, or I assume this is a language that I don't recognize. And then below that it says the side worlds. And it contains an image of this landscape, or I assume it's a landscape. And then below that, it says Obstanovka, and the attached images of... I don't know what this is, seriously. And there's this symbol in the corner which looks identical to this. I don't know what it's meant to represent, but at the bottom, this isn't even attached to an image, but all it says down here is find. And I'm kind of creeped out. Like, and another thing is that this image here, it bears an odd resemblance to the place at the edge of my chain of worlds. But who would, if that's the case, who would even send me it? And how would they even know about it? I've had my fair share of weird things ending up in my mailbox in the past, but this is something else entirely. I was just trying to fall asleep, but I couldn't stop thinking about everything that had happened. I was trying to connect some dots in my head, and I think I finally figured it out. I figured out what the side worlds are. The further away in the chain of universe that I went from my home universe, they became increasingly unstable, until the final one, which I couldn't get past, being the most unstable. I believe that to be a side world. A side world as in a world at the edge of reality. Which is why I couldn't get past it, because it's at the edge of everything. I'll get some sleep now, and tomorrow morning I'll set out again to see what I can do.
So what am I looking for here?
Where am I?
No, mich ist das bekannt, ja. Pakis kommt da. Hä? Wo ist du, wa?
Забе, зина заветова ми е мизина.
Какво? Не разбирам.
Ми балага. Я за назавел да валон.
Къде сме? Какво е това?
Вече съм ви научил езика. Тук сте, защото намерихте това оръдие за пътуване до столицата.
Коя столица?
Столицата на 32-я сектор. Тук сте да станете член на Тибир.
Моля?
Хората на вашата планета построиха къща и цял квартал върху точката, където не излиза портала. Пуснахме това оръдие, защото желаехме да жителите на тази къща да не станат членове. Дайте една минута да ви намеря нашето информационно видео, преведено на този език. Бяхме приготвили английския превод, но за вас това няма да свърши работа.
Заповядайте в 4-та дивизия на Тивир, великата охрана на 32-я сектор. Това информационно видео е преведено на вашия роден език, да ви помогне да разберете съдържанието. Какво е 32-я сектор? 32-я сектор е една от независимите държави в В какво се занимаваме? Като член на Тивир, работата ви ще бъде да арестувате граждани, които нелегално си напускат района. Ако се забележи случай на създаване на свят или пътуване към друг район, ще сте извикани да намерите престъпника. За тези мисии ще трябва да се научите да използвате Великия портал. В този портал ще можете веднага да се пренесете към района на престъплението. Как се използва? Има цифрова клавиатура наблизо до портала. На първия ред се пише номера на конкретната област. На втория ред се пише номера на конкретния район в областта. Също ще ви дадем уред за моментално пренасене до столицата, да не се изгубите из вселените. Езикът ни се пише с междувселенската фонетическа писменост. Всяка буква е съставена от символи, представящи живите същества, които могат да й произнасят звука. Ето няколко основни думи. Здравейте. Две. Довиждане. Минова. Как се казвате? Не ми си нали земе. Казвам се. Не ми мили. Гамабо на Лонтивир.
Какво ще кажете? Искате ли да работите с нас?
Да.
What is there?
As I soon came to realize, this was no ordinary place. I had arrived in the city of Insakon, the capital of a state known as the Urab. The Urab is a union of nations, which originate from a universe known as the... This is the universe at the center of reality, the furthest possible place from the side worlds, and the most stable universe, or unit as they refer to them here. The inhabitants of the are barely comprehensible to the human mind. To us, they appear to resemble semi-Euclidean glowing metallic forms, though their true appearance cannot truly be known. However, as I eventually came to know, these were also the only species in all of reality to not possess the ability to create worlds. They believe in a deity known simply as the Yuan Sikekon, which is featured on the flag of the Urab. At first, I found it ridiculous, if charming, though I came to witness his true power. The day I arrived here, he rearranged the so-called stars to form a message translating to, "A being of Sector 32 is here."
Zaveja Mavazavir.
Заверя, Мававима. Или заверя.
Милавела Дембо. Рамавамба Мили Лабеба Лагаймир. Онали Лугин Завия Малилимир.
Она.
Онали Завенир. Онали Гудени Ми Бидавама Давама. Нимили Завенир. Янли Дава Линия Бализа. Лама Она Дава Бини Бималили. Midavama Liliander. Mizove Jan Lavamode Bimalili Andemode. Jan Nili Davanam Bamode Emaboga.
Ona libali malili mode ladamona lidavaeni. Liliganande invadem bolili.
Mi modeli lugineni mi biten bomode. Jan Nibalia Malili Mode biten bomode. Mi modeli luginandeni.
Ilimonzo da dagian bimi mode. Jan liavazaena zindi balilo malilili.
Kmap Basgeman de modeli genandeni. Lubabi mi modeli aven.
Jan livons mazeme. Mi banajan uladadavamona.
Damzemela mi zavezuna. Onali Davaja Maboga. Onali Lalande.
Ona liavazaja lovstonovka big mapas.
Mi modeli Vegai Loniale.
Mabogali mode. Linava mode. Lugim bievali udava. Obanajan udava mode dava. Maboga bima mode. Zinale lidavama. Olugino Janni.
Kmap Klitaneni.
Zinazaneni. Ona modeli zonandeni. Mi modeli binezavali mande. Onali zonali bonandeni. Onali alaeni. Kmavaz glizaveni. Onali lava emi mode enmazande mode denvan. Onali lava awa. Onali lava van ema. Midava.
Midava.
After Urab expanded out from they realized that they were not the only ones to leave their universe. The civilization of Kanjor Malk already controlled a sizable portion of reality. Aside from several skirmishes after first contact, relations between Urab and Kanjor have been very peaceful. The latter has never even expanded its borders since first contact, and very little is still known about them. Urab eventually realized that a single government controlling so many universes would be very unstable, so they decided to split their territory into 32 almost equally sized sectors that would help organize the territory. Nowadays, all sectors have full autonomy over their regions. The only territories that could truly not have order were the side worlds, which contained nothing but chaos. In order to help anyone who were to become trapped there, the Urab Republic of Parallel began the Obstanovka program. A few centuries before the sectors gained independence, they would scatter machines in the side worlds of each sector, capable of instantly transporting anyone nearby to the... Later, they would invent smaller variants for anyone potentially trapped within a living being's world. The autonomy of the sectors has led to some interesting differences between each of them. The most prosperous sector is almost certainly Sector 24. They are highly advanced technologically. Some even say that they are more advanced than Urab itself. Unfortunately, there are also some less fortunate sectors. Sector 8 is one of them, with the highest corruption and crime rate of any sector. There is also my home sector, 32. Sector 32 does not interfere much with its citizens, but they have a strict policy of forbidding their citizens from knowing that there are other universes besides their own. This is an artifact of the sector's early history as an Urab industrial and resource-gathering region. The Urab would use the local species and civilizations as assets to extract natural resources. The inhabitants of the sector did not enjoy this, and so the moment they discovered how to create worlds, they had an advantage over the Urab. The creators of worlds would attack Urab bases and flee instantly. A trip that would take a standard Urab ship hours or even days to complete could be done in under a second by the creators of worlds. To combat this, the Urab organized a special military research unit, naming it after one of their largest fallen bases, Tevir. The Tevir officers deeply studied local populations and how the process of world creation is done. After countless hours of non-stop research and work, they created machines which could generate pseudo-worlds, which could be used to instantly travel between units. Now that the Urab had achieved even footing with the creators of worlds, they put down any rebellions, purging any knowledge of how to create worlds from the sector. Even after Sector 32 became independent, the Tevir remained with them. Though Urab has changed its policies to be less controlling, Sector 32 remains as strict as ever, forbidding its citizens from knowing a basic aspect about reality. With all of these measures put into place, I am genuinely surprised that I managed to make it out of the sector without even trying.
Finally, you're awake.
You're here. Where are we?
I left our universe, but they came after me. Now I guess we're both imprisoned by them.
I found your phone and your recording of that Plants World.
Is that how you got here? The bush?
It's a longer story than that. I'm sorry for not telling you about worlds.
Why didn't you? You made a groundbreaking discovery and told almost no one about
It
it.
was too dangerous of a discovery. I did keep records of it, but making public would cause so much chaos.
How?
Let's say someone created a world, filled it with life, and proceeded to torture their own creations. With creating worlds, one can do anything. One could create harmony, or the complete opposite.
You know, I would have never done that. You could have told me.
I was just worried.
What do you mean?
You could have told others. If the word got out and everyone started creating worlds, what would have happened if people discovered that they could travel to other universes? With unlimited possibilities and no regulations, our society would have collapsed.
Are we free? Oh,
Good. Where are we going?
You are going to
there.
the side wall of NP-3203. Go in, minus the one.
That should take us back?
Yes.
Shortly after we returned to the we heard news that the inner province of Sector 32 had declared independence as Sector 33. Despite claiming the entirety of Inner Province, Sector 33 only controlled a small territory. 32 was suspicious. They had just made a deal that allowed Orab into their territory, and right after, this happened. The deal that Orab had made with Sector 32 quickly fell apart. 32 believed that the separatist movement was supported by Orab, so they blocked them from helping them with the catastrophe at the Side Worlds. The catastrophe was wreaking havoc on Sector 32's territory, and was projected to spread across everywhere that exists. 32 did not care. We would rather all of reality cease to be than to let it be ruled by the untrustworthy, is what their lead diplomat responded with. Orab decided that since they were being accused of supporting Sector 33's movement, then they might as well actually support it. They did agree with it after all. Both sides already had quite rough relations, and this pushed them over the edge. When the neighboring sectors heard the news, they interpreted the situation as Orab invading Sector 32, and so they decided that they would also join in to take some territory for themselves. Sector 31 joined first. They began to move into Sector 32's outer province. Sector 1 joined shortly after, moving into the upper province and lower province. The war had begun. This set off a chain reaction across all of reality. Any tension that had previously existed snapped. Sector 8 was the first to fall. It had already been the most unstable, so it crumbled into several regions, all infighting for control. The neighboring sectors 7 and 9 took advantage of this and quickly occupied the entirety of 8. Shortly after, 7, 8, 9. It even reached the prosperous Sector 24. They were already the most advanced technologically, and so they began to rapidly consume their neighbors as if they were nothing. Kanjor Malk also did something unexpected. After never having expanded their borders since first contact with Urab, they started to slowly occupy the small sectors. Sector 32's three-front war also gained a new member. Sector 2 had been preparing for battle for centuries by stockpiling an unnecessarily large amount of nuclear weapons. They literally had entire units filled to the brim with them. I'd say that's a bit excessive. And now, their time had come. They took advantage of a distracted one and absolutely decimated them in a matter of hours. Not much changed in 32 itself. There was absolutely zero infrastructure for interuniversal traveling, which made progress extremely tedious. The only ones with an advantage were Sector 32 themselves, which had the portal in their capital that could be used for instant transport to any of their units. The TVA were able to easily defend the borders using it. They could not, however, get to the occupied units because the occupiers had destroyed the transport points. None of this chaos took away from the fact that reality was slowly disappearing near the edge of the sector. We needed to somehow repair reality before more units were taken by the space outside our known existence. We did not know how. We needed a plan. The great Yuan Sikekon had given us the information on how to deal with the catastrophe. According to the message, the information has been left back at my home, deep behind enemy lines. I'll have to find a way to get there quickly. Conventional transport wouldn't work. It was too slow and would definitely be intercepted by Sector 32's Tivir. I would have to create a world to connect one of Sector 33's units to my home universe. There, I would find the instructions on how to repair reality. Finally, I would use my original chain of worlds to make it back to the side worlds, where I would restore the barrier of reality and avert the catastrophe. Luckily, I was already experienced in creating worlds after building the entire chain from my home to the side worlds. My first world took me about a year to perfect. After each world, I got exponentially faster at creating. Near the end, I was averaging about 1 week per world. While I was creating the world, my sister was tasked with translating, printing, and distributing instructions on how to create worlds to the units under Sector 33's control. I did not really agree with that. Introducing such a groundbreaking possibility to fully established societies would be chaos, but I had to go with it. In the meantime, I would take one of the old-fashioned Tivere Dark Space ships to go to Unit 1M3217, where I would start work on my world in order to get past Sector 32's defenses. I just started creating the world like an hour ago. Here's my progress. It's currently limited to a small field of grass suspended within the void, but it should expand over the next few days. I have begun the tedious process of expanding the world. Let me show you. I'm currently working on creating the first planet. The first planet is always the most difficult when creating worlds. You need to make sure it's perfect before moving on. I finished creating the base of the first planet. I even started decorating it. I first added these bushes as an homage to my home, which I'm working to get back to. I have good news. The first planet is done. The others should not take too long. The reason they're easier is because after having one planet done, you could more or less just duplicate it several times and change the properties. Finally, my world is complete. I can now use it to propel myself back home. Here we go. Oh, it's so good to be back here. I see Sector 32 left their flag. So much for secrecy. Okay, so now where do I... Actually... This seems like a map to where? Oh, great. I'm not that good at reading this yet. Oh, at least he bothered to translate it. I can see why this information is so secretive. Too many people knowing about this would be dangerous. I know what to do, though. I just need to find a way to get to the edge of the side worlds. For now, I'll return to base desk so we can create a plan. The plan we created was as follows. The Urab Republic of Parallel would remotely reprogram the Obstanovka in that side world to transport me to a unit past the side worlds. Since there are no units beyond there, the best it will be able to do is take me to the edge of that side world. From there, I would propel myself through the empty vacuum until I reached the barrier of reality. I would follow the barrier until I reached the gap that had been broken into it, and repair it. After I had been given a special spacesuit to survive the vacuum of space, it was time for me to begin the journey to the side worlds.
It's right on the edge of the zone, so I must be quick. I need to make it out of here before this place disappears as well.
So this is it. Wait, I'm receiving a call. Hello?
Hi, there is an urgent message that must be brought to your attention.
What is it?
The situation is worse than we anticipated. We thought it was just the side worlds and outer provinces getting affected, but disturbances are being felt elsewhere too, primarily in Sector 17 and the surrounding regions. Units are beginning to collide. If you don't fix the barrier soon...
Okay. How much time do I have left?
We estimate a bit over 6 hours until reality's impending explosion is irreversible.
6? Do I even have enough time to make it?
If you don't make it, no one will. There isn't much time left.
Okay, I get it. Just stop stressing me out. I'm almost there. My suit's fuel ran out like 20 minutes ago, so I've resorted to walking on the barrier.
Is that working?
There's a surprising amount of centrifugal force here that's keeping me on the ground. It's very slight though, so I'm being careful to not step too strongly, otherwise might end up floating back to the side worlds. Wait, I think I'm there. I was not expecting that. Is that like a sky? I don't know, whatever, there's no time. Let me just fix everyone's problems real quick. Reality had been saved. Now we only needed to end the war. Urab had recently purchased some advanced vehicles from Sector 24, which helped us easily break through enemy lines. We made it to 32's capital in mere days. The Tver were helpless, and Sector 32 capitulated. Urab negotiated with Sectors 2 and 31 to stop their invasion, but they were allowed to keep the territory that they took. After all was said and done, the new Sector 32 was established. A vote was held, and surprisingly, I was the one chosen to be the new ruler of Sector 32. Was I definitely too young and inexperienced for such a position? Yes, but having been an unknowing citizen of the sector for my whole life, it was assumed that I would understand the best interest of the citizens. I let her go home because I know that she would never let me do this. Since I now know how to construct cosmic barriers, I would blockade our home unit, so our people won't be able to leave our world. I did not want to do this, but after seeing the chaos that occurred after we revealed the truth to the people of Sector 33, I knew that the damage done by Sector 32 was irreversible. Instead of naturally evolving to live with the freedom of travel, the societies in the sector had been confined to live in only one unit. It would only be peaceful for them to remain that way. Strange. Now I see that they have won in the end. We remain imprisoned by Sector 32.
Has a world, and they don't even know it. Every living thing has the capability to create its own world. With enough training, one can access one's world and even share it with others. I would like to share with you my first world and how I discovered it.